Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to show you how to make this really pretty macrame mandala mirror. I really love how it turned out. I think it's so cute. I made this for my friend's birthday and she absolutely loves it. This is what you'll need. You'll need a 25cm metal hoop, which I'll have linked in the description box below. You'll need 84 lots of 80cm lengths of 3mm cord. This is the colour eucalyptus, which I'll have linked below as well. You'll need some scissors. These are the ones I sell on my Etsy shop, but I'll have linked below as well. And you'll also need some strong glue like E6000. I'll have this linked down below as well. This is what we're going to use to glue the mirror onto it, so obviously you don't want it to fall off. And you'll also need a 25cm mirror. I'll have this exact one linked below as well. This one's got chains, so it's really handy to hang up. And you'll need a wire brush similar to this one. This is one I sell on my Etsy shop and I honestly wouldn't live without it. So I'm just grabbing my hoop and we are going to grab 10 lots of the 80cm lengths of our cord and we're going to attach them to the hoop using a lark's head knot. So grab one cord, fold it in half like this and then place the middle point over your hoop. And then pass the middle point underneath and behind the hoop. And then we're going to pass the two cords through the loop here. And then just pull that to tighten it and that is a lark's head knot. So we're going to repeat that with the other 9 cords from this first group that we're making. And with these cords we're going to make one of the big triangles as our starting point. So just attach all of the cords using that lark's head knot until it looks something like this. So now we're going to separate the first and last 4 cords like this. So we're left with 2 cords in the middle. We're going to work on these cords first. So we're going to take them and we're going to separate it. So you can see I'm taking this first cord here that's on the left and I'm just bringing it over the second cord. And then with that second cord we're going to bring it up and over like this. We're going to pass it behind and then we're going to bring it through that little loop that we created there. Just like that. So I'm going to pull that to the top to tighten it and then I'm going to repeat the exact same steps. So you can see this cord on the left is going to come up and over and then we'll go behind and through the loop. So that is forming a double clove hitch knot. So that's one double clove hitch knot done. And now we need to do it on the other side but going the opposite direction. So I'm taking that last cord and bringing it over towards the left. And then the other cord from that group is going to come up and over like this, behind and then through that loop that we created. So I'm tightening that and then I'm going to repeat that once more to form the double clove hitch knot. So now we've got one knot on each side. It's time to join the middle 2 cords together. So you can either do this by doing a double clove hitch knot going towards the right or the left. It's up to you. I normally always do it going towards the right. But whatever side you pick, make sure you do it for the rest of the mandala so it looks nice and neat. So again, I'm just going to create one double clove hitch knot going down towards the right using those 2 cords. So that is the starting point of our bigger triangle. So you can see it's a very tiny little triangle and then we're going to build up on that by adding in the rest of the cords. So now I'm going to take one cord and bring it down from either side like this. And now we are going to take the first and last cord. I'm going to leave them out. You don't need them for this row here. And then we're going to take the next available cord and we're going to bring that down. So if you split the cords in the middle, it won't get confusing. So in this row, we should be able to make 2 double clove hitch knots. So I'm just going to do that now. So we've got 2 on that side and now on the other side again we're leaving out that cord there, put that out of the way and then the next cord becomes the filler cord for our knot and then we're going to create 2 double clove hitch knots going down towards the left now. Just like that, and then again we are going to join the 2 middle cords together and like I said before, whatever direction you chose, make sure you do that for the rest of the mandala now. So I'm making one going down towards the right. And this is just going to give it that really neat uniform look and make it look really professional. Just like that. So now we can go ahead and bring in another cord from either side. And again, we're going to leave out the first and last cord on this set. So just like that, just put them out of the way, split the cords in the middle, and then on this row we should be able to create 4 double clove hitch knots now. And then like that, I'm going to go ahead and create the 4 double clove hitch knots on either side, remembering to leave out those first and last cords. And then again, joining the middle 2 cords together. So once you're done with this row, it should look something like this. And then I'm going to bring in another set of cords, leave out the first and last, and complete the exact same steps. And then finally doing it with the last 2 cords there. So that's going to create this really big triangle, which should consist of 5 rows. So now it's time to add on 4 cords this time. And we're going to create one of the smaller triangles that goes in between the 2 big triangles. So attach 4 cords using that same exact lark's head knot that we done at the start. So now we're going to just take the 2 middle cords from this, and we're going to create 1 double clove hitch knot on either side, going towards the middle again to create that small triangle. Again, join the 2 middle cords together in the direction that you chose. And then again, we are going to bring in those 2 cords. On this side, you can include the end 2 cords, and this will make sense in a minute as to why we can do that, but just make sure to include them on the smaller triangles. So I'm just using that first and last cord to be the filler cords, and then creating the row of double clove hitch knots. Again, join the middle 2. And now this is why we leave out the first and last cords on those bigger triangles, so we can use them to attach them to the smaller triangles. So now we can slide this one up to the bigger triangle, and you see that first cord that's from the bigger triangle. We're going to use that cord to be the filler cord of our small triangle to create one last row of double clove hitch knots, if that makes any sense. Hopefully you can see kind of what I'm doing here. So I'm just using that cord from the big triangle to create knots on the smaller triangle, which will connect the 2 together. So just like that, so that's 1 row complete. So obviously we need to add another row onto that smaller triangle there, but we can only do that once we create the next big triangle. So go ahead and grab 10 lots of your cords and attach them on the lark's head knot and create that big triangle in the exact same way that we done at the start. So just the exact same way, making sure the middle cords all point the same way. And then once that big triangle's made, and it should look something like this, we can go ahead and slide it next to that smaller triangle. And as you can see, we are going to use the last cord from that big triangle, this one here. And that last cord will now become the last row for the smaller triangle. So we can just complete the last row. So that smaller triangle should have 3 rows on either side. And that will of course attach the 2 triangles together as well. So it should be starting to look something like this, which is that really pretty sort of sunflower look that we're going for. So basically you want to complete another small triangle next to that bigger one, attach the 2 together, and then just keep on repeating those steps with your remaining cords until you have filled up your hoop with all of the cords and you have alternating big and smaller triangles going around your hoop. So I obviously just like to shove on Netflix. I think I was watching Friends when I made this, which is always a good choice for me, but if you have any suggestions for Netflix shows, please leave them below because I'm always running out of options. And just finishing off the final knot just like this, and voila, it is now finished. So now all that's left to do is to trim it and then comb out the fringe. So I'm taking my scissors. Now it's up to you on this whether you want to trim following that triangle pattern like this, or you can trim it in a circle, which also looks really nice, and then comb out the fringe so it's all nice and fluffy. So it's really up to you, but for this one I'm going to cut it kind of following that triangle pattern. I'm just making my initial cut just to get the bulky length off, and then I'll go and brush it out and finalise it. So I trimmed mine to about 3 centimeters, but like I say, this is just a rough trim just to get off the length, and then I'm going to go ahead and sort it all out once I've brushed it all. So don't forget to keep your scraps. You can make so many things with these, including these cute tassel key rings, which I'll have linked above. So just carry on trimming it and getting off that bulky length, and then we can go ahead and grab our wire brush. So it should look something like this, and then we'll just grab our wire brush, and I'm just going to start combing out the cords to make them nice and fluffy. But if you want, it's easier to unravel the cord a bit with your fingers first and then brush through it. So this is how it looks all brushed out and nice and fluffy, but remember to flip it over as well, because sometimes the cords get stuck underneath, and just give it a brush from behind as well. So now I'm going to take my scissors and do my final trimming. So like I said before, I'm going to try and follow the triangle pattern that we've got going on. So it's really up to you, but I like to just take my time with this, make sure I'm getting a nice neat cut. But with these scissors, it's so easy to get that really neat cut, and it's effortless as well. They cut through so many cords. I honestly really recommend them. Right, so now that that's done, I'm going to flip it over, give it one last brush as well, just to make sure there's no weird long cords that got stuck behind. Give it one final trim. And so with the wire brush, it is just so easy to pick out all the fluff as well. You just use either another comb, or you could use your fingers, or like I'm using here, some jewellery pliers. And then you could just leave it as this if you didn't want to include the mirror part. This is still really pretty. Now it's time to grab our glue and our mirror and attach it all together. So I'm sorry about the reflections, but I'm just gonna have to deal with it for now. So I've just placed the mirror down. Oh, there I am. And then I put the mandala on top. So you can see the mirror chain there. I'm just gonna try and hide it with one of the bigger triangles so you don't really notice it when it's hanging up too much. So I'm grabbing the glue and I'm going to be putting a really thin line around it on the mirror frame. If you get this same mirror, then it does have quite a good flat frame for the glue to go on. So now that that's all around the mirror, I'm going to go ahead and grab my mandala, make sure none of it's folded underneath so it won't get glue on it. Like that. I'm just going to gently place it down, make sure I'm happy with the placement and that it's covering up that chain, and then I'm going to put a heavy box on it overnight just so the glue can have a really strong hold. So this is it the following day, and I'm just going to give it one final brush, but everything is glued together and it's nice and secure. So now it's time to hang it up. But you can see here I'm just showing you that the big triangle hides the chain, so it looks nice and neat. So I really hope you enjoy this tutorial. I've wanted to make a macrame mirror for so long, so I'm so glad I finally did, and I really love this sort of sunflower pattern design. What colour would you make this in? Because I really love this eucalyptus colour, but I also think it would look so nice in a nice white colour, or maybe like a burnt orange. If you do recreate it, please be sure to tag me on Instagram at LunaCraftsOnline, because I'd really love to see it and share it. So I really hope you enjoy this. If you can like, subscribe or comment, that'd really help me out. And as always, I really hope you have a lovely week. Bye!